Sharing the link to the thing.
And we are live. Hello, folks. It's July 3rd, 2023. Happy almost 4th of July. We're here with Joshua Lisec, author of So Good They Call You a Fake. And today we're talking about how long it takes to write a book and what we can do about that instead of having it take forever. Welcome to your own show, Joshua.
Yes, Brian. Thank you for hosting.
Now, one of the people we talked to recently, they said they've been taking, I think they said they took 5 years or 10 years to write their first book. And as we're talking about how you can write a book in 5 months, let's start off with the other end of things. Why is it some people take a decade to write a book?
First off, many such cases. Second, in the usual way of writing a book that most people who want to write a book, and most people do want to write a book, the usual process is a sort of self-consultation that people take. What do I want to write about? What's on my heart? What's on my mind? What are some insights that I've gleaned? What are some stories I've experienced? What are those anecdotes I keep sharing at the networking events and at the parties? What's the same advice I keep giving clients? And then they begin to compile it. And then they realize they have effectively a library's worth of advice, yet there's no cataloging system. There's no organization. It's chaos. And at this point, it seems like chapters 1 and 2 and 3 are somewhat unrelated from to one another. And so the art of book writing soon becomes a pastime, as in they stop doing it. And it's a bit of a hobbyist effort. Whereas in the publishing industry, those of us who are successful authors and accomplished ghostwriters know that it's more of a science and an art. It's a systematic process. It is a step-by-step with no step skipped adventure that can be brought down into a number of months rather than extended out over a number of years. And it feels almost formulaic because it is. But it's within the constriction of here's what works and here's what doesn't work, so don't do that. Within that constriction, within that restriction, through the prohibition of what not to do, you find great creativity. And you find that you can unlock your own excellence as a literary genius, you might say.
I want to hone in on this one phrase here. Step by step with no step skipped. Here is my book, which I did not write following your process. I actually wrote this before I even ever met you. And it's brilliant. Thank you for asking. It's a technical manual that tells you all kinds of ways to do things. And I'm right. And I've done book signings within my little tiny niche. People know, like, oh yeah, Brian Keith wrote the Plus This book. Yeah. But there's a missing part here, which is sort of at the end, I say, oh, go hire me, I guess. It's like a one-page black and white thing. But I realize from working with you that there's no funnel in the book. There's me being smart at you, which doesn't really do it. It doesn't get me anywhere besides being able to say, I wrote a book. It doesn't walk people down an ascension path. So what does it look like with what you're doing, helping people build the ascension path from the beginning instead of just writing a book that makes them sound smart?
Yes. So if you are doing all this time and effort to produce a book, it ought to be the most useful book for you rather than, oh, it's a standalone. It's the compilation of my best advice from my blog and threads and emails that I've done. Rather, consider that the usual funnel for acquiring customers is top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel. And it takes a while to get people from your first, let's say your first content, maybe a tweet or a thread, to subscribing to your blog, to reaching out, replying to one of those marketing emails, booking a sales call with your team, to go from kind of out there nowhere to being a marketing qualified lead to being a sales qualified lead. What authorship does, done right, is it skips from the top of the funnel all the way down to the bottom. Someone who buys your book is not simply a blog browser or a tweet reader or a freebie email subscriber. They're a customer, okay? And so basically what you're doing is you are shortening your funnel. You're shortening the amount of time it takes for a total internet stranger to purchase from you. And that means you can print money by writing the right book. Simply by writing the right book, you can print money. This is what we want you to understand, those who are watching this. But it can't just be any book. It must be an authority book. An authority book is one that demonstrates your expertise solving a very specific and very painful and very real set of problems, or as we call them, jobs to be done, getting those jobs to be done. and being so detailed about your description of how to do that inside of your book that 4 chapters in or 14 chapters in, readers say to themselves, okay, this is too hard. I just need to hire the person to do it themselves for me. Right. So it goes from being a $20 customer of this software paperback to being a $20,000 consultation client.
That's a big problem with this book, is that I don't sell consulting services really for the software. And so I wrote a book to sound smart and to have written a book, and it helped me become one of the undisputed leaders in the world, but I don't offer services related to it. There's no $20,000 thing. And people come to me and they say, oh, you wrote the book on plus this. Let me go get your brain on this. I'm like, okay, fine. I'll help you out on Facebook, like on Messenger for free, because I don't have an offer related to that. Now,
Yes.
How do you help people develop that offer if you're talking about writing a book in only 5 months?
Yes. So the first things first is the 5-month program that we're talking about is called the author-ity Accelerator, and the emphasis is on author, of course, because it's from beginning to end a 5-month period. The first running of the core is going absolutely fantastic, and it is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. And the reason it's so much fun is because the people who are coming into it are already good at what they do. They are already competent at what they do. This is not for beginners. This is not for, wow, it'd be nice to have a business someday. It'd be nice to quit my 8 to 5 and travel the world. This is not what you're about. It's not for beginners. It's not for hustlers. It's not for grifters. It's not for people who are trying drop shipping and affiliate marketing last year. This is for people who have a number of years of expertise, even 2 or 3 years of expertise. The key is that you may be an expert, but you're not an authority if you haven't written the book. If that statement resonates with you to the very core of your being, this might be for you. If it doesn't, you say, well, I already post one webinar, to my, I push one webinar a week out to my list, and I do a couple threads a week. I'm an authority, obviously, for my top of the funnel content, middle of funnel content. This is not for you. To produce an authority book, the idea is that you want to increase your rate of acquiring new customers while also lowering your customer acquisition cost by a significant and measurable number, which means you have to already have a business that can serve customers. You have to already be able to do something for customers, providing a valuable professional service. Either it's perhaps it's to individuals. So there's people that we work with that have been real estate agents. They have been marriage and family lawyers. They have been tax resolution accountants, and work with individuals, with families as well. Wealth managers work with individuals, work with families. But it's a professional service, right? Those are the individuals who can benefit most from an authority book, because so few of their competitors have an authority book. Who are they going to hire? The person down the street who's half your price, or you who's wrote the book on it, but are 2 times more expensive? Well, obviously you're the expert, because you can teach them in your book, how they can do it themselves, which is a fantastic aspect of an authority book.
How long does someone need to have been offering their high ticket offer before they start the Authority Accelerator?
One of the first people who joined, his name is John. He opened his business in either 2020 or 2021. So he's been at it for a couple of years. He's got testimonials. He's got case studies. He knows what he's doing. He is not figuring out what he wants to say or figuring out what he does as he writes his book. If that's you, you have a few more years on you that you need to get on you, because there's something to be said about writing a book too late. Don't do that. Or writing a book too soon. Don't do that either. In my own book, So Good They Call You Fake, over here, chapter 2, I share the story of a client whose advice was mindset. It's all mindset. Just focus on your mindset. Just focus. Mindset. That was the beginning and end of her advice. And that's how you will sound if you do not have expertise. You have to have earned an authority book already before writing one, is the short of it.
How do you know that you've earned one? Or that you're a pretender?
You've earned one, usually because people are begging you for one. They say, when are you going to write that book? You need a book on this. Dude, you'll hear that. You'll say, wow, this would make a great book. Or they'll say things like, whoa, I need to put in touch with, I have 3 people I need to know that you need to know that I know. And you're getting referrals. You are so good that haters and anonymous trolls online are calling you a fake. They're saying there's no way you got that result. They're saying, oh, that's absolutely a scam. You're getting unsolicited hate mail in your email, perhaps on social media. That is the last rite of passage into greatness, is when strangers on the internet cannot imagine producing such good results that you do, that they think there's no way that this is possible. Therefore, the only conclusion is that this person is a fraud and that they're lying and that or maybe they cheated or they used Photoshop. I get that a lot because there's no way someone as successful as I am as a professional ghostwriter, only being 31 years old. And so I have any number of detractors. And the latest accusation this weekend was all the positive reviews in my book I ghost wrote myself. They're fake reviews that I wrote. Is the latest. I'm the definition of so good they call you a fake. And if that concept resonates with you, you probably need an authority book. But the yin and yang of attracting and repelling is the same. If you say, well, I don't want anyone to call me a fake, I don't want to get that kind of attention, then my friend, you do not need a book.
You need a MySpace account where we could be happy. Tell us about the 5 months. You promised a book out the door in 5 months, which sounds like an insanely small amount of time unless someone's using AI and someone off Upwork for $7.53. How does that actually work? What's the details look like in those 5 months?
Yes. So what's fun is that half the people who are in the first cohort are more than halfway done writing their entire book, and we're in 6 weeks into it. 6 weeks into a 5-month experience, and half the people are more than halfway done with their book. I would like to sit on that for a moment. That is spectacular. That sounds like they have to be using ChatGPT. They are not. They're not, and I know they're not because I'm going through and reading everything. But the way that the Authority Accelerator program works, it's kind of more. It's more like a done with you experience as opposed to you buying my book and Googling a bunch of stuff and then trying to do this all yourself. That's do it yourself. The alternative is to pay me a lot of money to do it for you. But if you don't have a 6-figure ghostwriting budget, the done with you version of my services, the Authority Accelerator, is the best version of what it is that you want. The authority book to get it done, get it out there. Guaranteed. Now, month 1 starts with me telling you what book to write, which is the hardest part of all this, by the way. I tell people, you have 501 good book ideas. Well, that's what you think. 500 of them are terrible. The one is the one that you need to write. It's the one authority book idea that will package your expertise and your stories that you do want to share with what's valuable to the market. And I'm ghostwriting my 81st, 82nd, and 83rd nonfiction full-length books right now. There are a few people in the world who have a better understanding of what books work and what books don't than I. And I tell you what book to write and what book not to write. From the very beginning, down to the title, the subtitle, shaping the direction of the book, the log line for it, which is the 1-sentence pitch for the book, elevator pitch for the book, and then laying out the table of contents for you so that it's as easy as possible. Almost as easy. It's almost as easy as using AI to just write it for you to follow my process at the end from month 1 into month 2 and into month 3.
So what's happening in month 2?
What's happening in month 2 is we're having continuous weekly meetings as part of this cohort of close-knit aspiring authorities who are already experts. So you get it. You have great feedback back and forth to one another, and you're actually getting quality feedback, not some yahoo from a free writers group or even a low-paid, anyone can join democratized access to book writing fun, like a lot of groups that are out there, where you're talking to people who are self-published poets who've sold 2 copies of their books in the last 35 years, and that's the average quality of the group.
I love
We
Savage
want
Joshua.
people who actually make lots of money and getting advice and feedback from people who are making lots of money from their services already.
What does it do to someone's brain to know that they're going to have to be answering to you every week with what they've done or not done over the past 7 days?
They're more likely to tell the truth, number 1. Number 2, they're more likely to do what they say they're going to do because you're paying for it, paying a lot for it. Now, it's not as much as a 6-figure ghostwriter, this Authority Accelerator experience, but it's a fast pace. It is an accelerator, not a make it take a longer.
Not a vacationer?
Yes.
Okay, what's happening?
Vacationer.
Month 3. What's happening in month 3?
Usually in month 3, it's a transition from finishing that first draft to beginning some revisions on it based on commentary that I'm making. And what I like to do is revise sections that are really bad or write transitions for each of the author's chapters. So my eyes are on it. And there have been times I've written entire sections like, okay, dude, this is not going to work. And I'll explain it. Other times, and I'm available via Slack, so people are sending me messages and feedback. And hey, Joshua, look at this. What do you think about this? Screenshot of a new section of a new chapter opening. Oh, no, that's terrible. Not going to work. Here's why. Say this instead. And being direct about that. And having a combination of synchronous and asynchronous feedback to everyone, make sure there's no time wasted and you're getting as quickly as possible through the writing of the first draft of the book. Now it's in month 3 where we also do things like the interior design. Do we need any graphics interior? What about the cover art, the cover design that's going to align with the existing brand that you already have? So when your book comes out, it looks like your business, and it doesn't look like, wow, this is some self-published job that was made with Microsoft Paint, which a lot of them are, which is what we don't want. We want the appearance of quality. We want the appearance of excellence. We want the appearance of, wow, this person knows what they're talking about. This person's an authority. If it doesn't make you look like an authority, we don't do it.
What's happening in month 4?
What happens in month 4 is now where we finish up the copy editing, doing the Chicago Manual of Style aligned review of the manuscript. So that means making the citations properly formatted and the margins and gutters and that sort of thing, and actually turning this now into a real book. The book production experience begins as well now, where we're resizing it for print and for digital publication, and the authors are recording their audiobooks at this stage here in preparation for the big, exciting sexy release in month number 5 of their book. I say again, we do not waste time with this program. I don't run a bunch of these, but the fun aspect of it is that I run just enough of them that I can give everyone that personal one-on-one time and fix what's broken in the manuscript as they are writing it. Because one of the things that takes so much time for book writing is where they make chapter 1, chapter 2 are great, but then it goes off the deep end in chapter 3, and then they write the rest of the book without having that professional qualified feedback to rein them in. So now we spent a year writing the wrong book, chapter 3 onwards. And then they don't realize it until they begin submitting to publishers that they wrote the wrong book. Okay, another year passes to get that feedback. It just wastes so much time. Authorities don't waste time. What would an authority do? Well, an authority would not waste time. An authority would just get it done, and they would just get it out there. And they would say, great enough is great enough.
Why are you spending your individual time when your competition is making plenty of money by hiring people off Upwork, by having the face who sells the thing and then handing you to your local Jiffy Lube mechanic to write your book, to follow a process, but they're not paying personal attention? Why are you doing something non-scalable?
Yeah, the issue from a business model perspective is that any type of service, even if it's consulting with a little bit of hands-on, which is what the Authority Accelerator is, it is not as scalable as some programs out there. But the reason it's not is because that's a competitive advantage. People don't want, and they don't want a book accelerator. They want the Joshua Lisec experience. They want me to be the one who tells them what book to write and shape the experience, because I'm not just a ghostwriter, but also a hypnotist. And so I understand that subconscious persuasion. I understand the little things that are going to work and also not work, that are going to make, that could also break a book. I also understand what it takes to go from turning someone into a 99-cent ebook reader into a $99,000 client. I've done it over and over and over, helping clients build businesses on the back of their book, turning their business, or rather building out a business from their book that's more scalable and more sustainable. So I prefer creating success stories rather than creating a sort of democratized access to Joshua Lisec's brain. There will never be such a thing as that.
Let's say again what you said about the people currently in the program. How many chapters have they gotten done in 6 weeks?
Yeah, it is a small group. So when I say half, we're not talking 50 people. But half the people have more than half the book written in 6 weeks. And that was because the first week and a half-ish, everyone had their title and subtitle and log line and the makings of their first draft written. The first chapter, first draft written. That is fast, because so often people will join these book coaching groups that, okay, month 1, we're going to think about the topic. Month 2, we're going to think about stories. And it just takes so long. But note that book coaching services are aligned with making it take as long as possible, which is why I tend to not like any type of coaching relationship. And there's a chapter in my book, So Good They Call You Fake, about the problem with coaching and how to fix that problem. And that there's an incentive alignment problem. My incentive is to get you done and out the door in 5 months with an authority book, so that I can work on the next group, or I can maybe work on my next book. Wink, wink. So I don't want it to take an inordinate amount of time. Whereas book coaches any type of a coaching relationship, they are incentivized to make it take as long as possible. For them to get the chapter drafts halfway done in 6 weeks, that's not great for their own income. So they need to make that take a year and a half, not 6 weeks.
Let's talk about someone who wants to have their book actually out the door right now. This is where they apply. What does that application process look like to be considered?
Yes. So you go to licecghostwriting.com/authority. You read the page. You say, okay, I think this is the best way to get a book done. It's not the cheapest. It's not the most expensive. It's just right in line with my budget. It might be the most expensive thing I've ever bought, but it's going to be the right thing. You're going to fill out an application. I'm going to look at your application form. If I like what I see, you will hear from me. If I do not, you will not. Sorry, but that's just the way that it is.
And then how long after someone applies and you approve them, do they get to start?
Yes. So right now, the next Accelerator begins in about 3 weeks, like the middle to very end of July. We have a couple of spots left because people in the summer one had business ventures and other activities come up. So they got moved to the October one that's coming up. So we've got a couple of spots right now that are open in the July authority Accelerator. That means your books will come out 5 months later from the end of July. So if you want to start 2024 in 2023 as the ascendant authority in your niche, if that would be valuable to you, if it would be more valuable than $25,000, this might be for you.
One last question. We're hearing from people, they wonder, besides writing the book, what are we doing in the Authority Accelerator to help them market the book and actually help them win beyond writing the book itself? What inside that is included in the Accelerator?
Yes. So you will write the book. You will finish the book. We will what's called ghost publish the book for you. So it's available in the dust jacketed hardcover, softcover, audio, and digital. So you have a real thing. And we also help you create all of the launch materials that you need for the book, as well as for ongoing promotion. I always tell people that book publication is 1 day, book launch is 18 months, book legacy is 20 years. So what you want with this process, and maybe a 5-month accelerator, but with it, we expect an 18-month commitment from you to yourself that you will hit up your timeline. You will smash your timeline, your newsfeed, your email list, your contacts, your industry for the next year and a half about your books every single day. And maybe that means you just tweet a screenshot of a book review you got once a day for the next 18 months.
Well,
but we have perennial bestsellers, including Dr. Philip Ovadia here. His book has been out for coming up on 2 years now. Initially a #1 bestseller, and then it is now again a #1 bestseller. In fact, I don't know if it ever left. He might be a perennial. What would that be? Almost 700 weeks as a #1, or not 700? No, 700 days.
70 weeks.
700 days ish as a #1 Amazon bestseller in relevant categories, which is spectacular. And
heart disease, #1 in heart disease.
Yes. Yeah. It's absolutely dominant, right? The longer you promote your book, the more it's going to do for you. So people get all excited about, oh, book launch day. Okay, my book's published now. No, 18 months. 18 months. Authorities are not flashes in the pan. They are the whole oven itself.
Beautiful. Okay, folks, you know where to go. Lisec Ghostwriting, ghostwriting.com/authority to go apply. Thanks for listening in.